Hello guys, welcome to Ashok IT. In this video, we are going to learn about CSS completely. Now, let us see what are the concepts we are going to cover in this video. Firstly, we are going to cover CSS syntax. Next, we'll see CSS properties. Next, we will learn about box model. Next, CSS selectors, CSS units, position, and Flexbox properties. This is very important concept in CSS and grid as well. And finally, we are going to cover the media queries, which is nothing but the responsive web design. Finally, we are going to conclude this video by learning some good to know concepts. Before moving forward, I wanted to remind you one thing, guys. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe to this channel and give a like to this video so that it will be an encouragement to us to do more videos like this. Okay, now let us move forward to the concepts. Now, let us try to understand what is CSS first. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It describes how HTML elements should be displayed on the web page. It is used to control the layout of the web page as well. The term cascading means flowing from top to bottom. The CSS works on this principle. The bottom styling will have more priority when compared to the topmost styling. Now, let us see what are the types of CSS available. We can also say it as different ways of writing CSS, which is inline CSS. And the second method is internal CSS or in-page CSS. And the third one is external CSS. Now, let us move on to the very first concept, which is CSS syntax. Coming to the CSS syntax, it consists of a selector, and after that we will write curly braces. Inside of these curly braces, whatever we are going to write, the whole thing is called as declaration block. Inside of declaration block, each line is called as property, and each line is separated with semicolon. The property is divided into two parts. One is property name and property value. Here, the color is called as property name and the value blue is called as property value. Here, in the place of selector, we can write element name, class name, or ID name, anything. Like you'll get to know in a while what do I mean when I say selector. Okay. This is about the CSS syntax. Now, let us open VS Code and do some hands-on practice on CSS syntax. I'm onto my desktop screen. I'll create a new folder here. The shortcut to create a new folder is Control Shift N, and I'm going to rename this as CSS Crash Course. Okay, I renamed it. Now, I'll open this inside of a VS Code. So I opened VS Code, the blank window. Drag it aside, and I dragged the CSS crash course folder and dropped it onto the VS Code window. Okay, now I'll set up my work, and before even doing that, I'll create a new file with the name of index.html. You know how to get the boilerplate code, right? So shift 1, you'll get an exclamation mark. Click on the tab, you'll get the boilerplate code. There is another shortcut to get the boilerplate code. That is HTML:5 will also give the same boilerplate code. You can use anyone. Okay, now I will rename this title to CSS crash. No, CSS syntax. Now I'll take a paragraph with 20 words inside of a paragraph. Now, what's happening here is the content is getting overflowed. That is, I'm getting an horizontal scroll, right? I don't want this. The whole content should be displayed within this screen, right? So in order to do that, we can wrap the content inside of the screen. The shortcut for that is Alt Z will wrap the content into the screen. Okay, now let us see the output of this code. I'm clicking on go live. That is getting opened here. So I'll arrange it. Now here I'm able to see the output, and here I'm writing the code. So let us try to use the CSS syntax, what we have learned, right? I'm using internal CSS. Okay, you'll always write internal CSS inside of an head tag. You need to write a tag called style. Okay, inside of that we will be writing the whole CSS here. This type of CSS is called as internal CSS or in-page CSS, right? Now before even getting started, now let us write the syntax first, right? What is the syntax we have learned? We'll have selector, and after that curly braces, and after that property name colon property value. This is the syntax what we have learned, right? Okay, so we'll try to utilize that. Okay, here in the place of selector, you can give element name or class name or ID name. Here, what we can do is, I wanted to target this paragraph. So I will target that using the element name or a tag name. The tag name of paragraph is P, right? So I'm using that. After that, I need to use curly braces. After that, I will apply a common property, which is color, very basic property, color. And I'll give a color of tomato here. See, here I got color of tomato, right? Now, let us apply some styling on H1 as well. Ready? Two. Okay. Okay. You can select with H2. No, H1. I have written H1, right? So this is heading 1. Okay. So you need to target it using the element name, which is H1. And I will apply color blue. Yeah, I'm getting that, right? So this is how you can apply the CSS styling on the HTML. Okay. Now let us move forward to the next section, which is CSS properties. These are the CSS properties you need to know before even starting working on CSS. Under font group, you have font style, font size, font weight, and font family. Okay, font style will control whether the text should be italic, oblique, and coming to the font size, you can control the size of the text. Coming to the font weight, you can control the weight of the text. That is like to how much extent the text should have the bold. It will have a range of 100 to 900. Coming to the font family, you can give the stylings, different ways of writing the text. You know the calligraphy, right? Like we'll have Arial, Times New Roman, something like that. Okay. Coming to the background properties, we have background color, which is very important property. Okay, there are other background properties also, but for the basics, you need to know background color. Okay, it will control the background color, whatever you are applying to that selected element. Okay, coming to the width, height. Okay, these will control the width and height of an image. Whatever the element you are targeting, it will control. You can control the width and height of those elements. Okay, you do have properties like width, height, and display as well. Display is another property which is very important. You will have values like display none, display flex. You'll get to know. Okay, I'll explain. Okay, and coming to the border group, you'll have properties like border radius, border width, and border color. With the help of border radius, you can control the smoothness of the shape or the border. Okay, and coming to the border width, you can increase the width of the border or decrease. You can control the width of the border. Okay, using border color, you can give the color right to the border. And using color, you can control the text color. Using text align, you can align the text into the center, left, or right. With the help of text transform, you can control like whether it should be uppercase, lowercase. Okay, you can control those things. Coming to the margin and padding, okay, margin will be the gap between two elements. For suppose here, consider this thing, orange color thing is one element and green color thing is another element. The gap between these two elements can be controlled using margin. Okay, and coming to the padding, That is the gap or space between the content and the border. Okay, let us say this is the border, right, for this shape. Okay, and the gap between the content and this border can be controlled with the help of padding properties. Okay, this is about the CSS properties. Now I'm onto my VS Code screen. Here I have created a HTML file and named it as CSS properties. Here we will be able to see the output. Now what I'll do is I'll write a paragraph inside of a body with the 5 words inside of it. Okay, yeah, here we are able to see that. Now I'll write a style tag inside of a head tag. Okay, now I'll write the CSS styling here. Now let us see some CSS properties. Okay, coming to font properties. Okay, I wanted to target this paragraph element. How we can do that? With the help of element name, right? We targeted the paragraph element. Coming to the font size will control the size of the text. See here, it is getting increased. Now I'll reduce it to 5 pixel. See here, right? Now you're able to control the size of the text using the property called font size. Okay, now let us see the font style. Okay, now I'll take italic. See here, the text was like in an inclined manner in a slant format. Okay, now coming to the font family. Okay, we can define different styles for the fonts. For suppose if I give cursive, observe carefully the font style or font family of that, right? How the way we write the text has been changed, right? This is how we can change. Now let me change it to Arial. Okay, it got changed, right? This now let us use font weight. I have already told you na, that font weight will have values from range of 100 to 900. Now let us give 100. The text will become thinner, right? Now let us give 900. It got bolder, right? This is how the font weight property will behave. Okay. Now let us move forward to the next properties. That is, yeah, background properties. Coming to the background properties, what I'll do is now I'll change the background of the whole web page or website, right? I will target body here. So I'll change the background color of the body using the property called background color. Now what I'll do is I'll give this color. See here, the background color is changed. Yeah, this is how we can use background color for now. Okay, let it be like that. Now let us move forward to the next properties like width, height, and display, right? Yeah, let us see these properties. Here also, I'll target the same element, which is paragraph. I'm targeting the same paragraph element, right? Now I will increase the width of it, or else I'll give some background color so you'll get to know whether it is changing or not, right? I'll give this color, right? Okay. Now this is the width it is taking up, and this is the height which is taken by paragraph. Now let me increase the width of it, increase or decrease the width of it, right? What I'll do is I'll decrease it to 50 pixel. See here, it is changing. Now let me change the width to 300 pixel. I'll make it 250. Okay. Now coming to the height. Okay. Let us change it to 30 pixel. See here, that is also changing. Now, after that, coming to the display property, using display property we have multiple values like block, inline block, okay, flex. You'll get to know about flex, grid, all these properties later. For now I'll explain block, inline block, and none. Okay, let us see display none first. Okay, if you give a value of display none, then the value will not be displayed on the website. Okay, that is the use case of display none. Now, moving forward, display block. I have already explained about inline elements and block level elements in the HTML, right? If you haven't watched that video, I will leave it in the cards. You can watch that video. Display block. Now, display block means it will take up the whole space in the line. Okay. Now, let us move forward to the inline. Okay, if you apply inline, the width and height properties will not get affected. See carefully here, observe carefully. See here, the width and height are not getting affected because for inline elements, you can't apply width and height. And if you add any element here, okay, for suppose I wanted to add which element, anchor tag, or else I'll add button. Okay, see here, the button is coming in the same line because we made it display inline. Okay, if it is block, the button will come in the next line because it will take up the whole block. Okay, that is what it means. If it is inline block, okay, height and width can be applied on that, but it will act as an inline element. Okay, that is the difference between block, inline block, and display none. Okay, now let us move forward to the next properties. Now, let us see border properties. What I'll do is I'll target this button. Okay, let me do block here so it will be easy for us to understand. Now, okay, I'll target the button and I will change the border of it. Okay, what are the properties we have? We have border radius, right? Border radius, I'll make it to 20 pixel. See here, we are getting smooth edges, right? That is the use case of border radius. Now, coming to the next property, that is border width. Let us give 10 pixel so that we can see. Okay, it is getting affected, right? With the help of border width, we can change the width of the border. Okay, if it is 1 pixel, if you want to make it none, you can also do that. Okay, I'm leaving it as 1 pixel for now. Okay, now we can also give the border style as well. If you want, you have also border color as well. You can also change the color. Okay, I I think you got the point. Okay, in the term only, like with the help of this term only, you'll be able to understand. Border width will change the width of the border. Border style will change the style of the border. Now let us see what are the values we have. We have solid, dotted, dashed. Okay, these are the values. Now let us see. So solid is the default one. Coming to the dotted thing, see here it is getting affected. Now let me increase the width. You'll be able to see that. See, okay, that is the dotted. Coming to the dashed, this is how it looks. Okay, the default one is solid. Okay, mostly in all my tutorials, what I'll do is with the help of border main property, I'll apply all this style, width, and color. Okay, so 2 pixel with solid. This is the syntax and this is the order you need to follow. First, you need to give the width. After that, you need to give the style. After that, you need to give the color. See here, it is getting changed. If you want to give border radius, you can give. Sorry, yeah, I'll do this. Okay, now let me change it to purple. Okay, that's all about border properties. Now let us move to the next properties, which are text properties, right? Now let us target the paragraph element only. I'm targeting the same paragraph element. We have text properties like text align. Text align will align the text into the center or left or right, right? I'm giving text align value as center. See here, it is coming to the center. Now, if you give the value of left, the default one is left, I'll give the right. See here, you can control the text alignment using the property called text align. coming to the next property, we have text transform. With the help of text transform, you can convert it into totally uppercase letters or lowercase letters, okay, or capitalize each word, okay. These are the properties what we need to see. Coming to the margin and padding properties, I'll be explaining these properties in the box model clearly, okay. For now, let us see to some extent I'll be applying. Okay, coming to the padding, you have, if you give 20 pixel, the space between the border and the content will be increased. Coming to the margin, the space between the elements will get increased. See here, these two elements. Okay, for now I'll give margin bottom. See here, the space between these two elements will be increased. Okay, yeah. So I'll be explaining these properties again in the box model. You'll get to know there. Okay. These are the basic properties and important properties you need to know. Okay. Now let us move forward to the next section. Now let us learn box model in CSS. This is how a box model looks. Box model consists of four parts. That is content, padding, border, and margin. Now I'll open up my VS Code, and with the help of the code, I'll be explaining this box model. Yeah, this is what I want. Actually, what I did is I have opened developer tools by right clicking and inspecting. Okay, I've opened this computer tab inside of developer tools. Okay, this is the box model what we have seen before, right? Now, let us see in action. Okay, um, in CSS, everything is a box. Everything will be considered as a box. Now, let us see by hovering on the elements. This is the paragraph element, right? So you see, when I hover on the paragraph tag, it is giving some colors and all those things. Okay, so I'll be explaining this. So here, whatever the content which is in blue color, that is called as content. Okay, and let me only hover on paragraph and I'll select that. Okay, this is paragraph. Now here, that is the space which is taken by the content, and here which is in orange color, that is the margin. Okay, now let us try to apply padding for the paragraph. I'm applying 10 pixels of padding for the paragraph, right? Now see here, padding got added on the four sides. Okay, now let us try to increase the margin as well. Every element will have default margin. So the default margin for the paragraph is 16 pixels. Now let us increase that to 40 pixel. Okay, this is it. I have already explained about margin and padding in the CSS properties. Now let me also explain once again. Now padding is a space which is between border and content, right? Now what we will do is I will also add border here, border with the 2 pixel width and solid, and I'm giving it a color of black. Now we got a border, right? Border of 2 pixel width. Okay, so we got a border of 2 pixel width, and the color styling is solid and the color is black, right? Border with the 2 pixel, padding is 10 pixel, and the content. Okay, whatever you are able to see in the blue color, that is the space which is taken by content, and this is the border, and the spacing between border and content, the spacing between border and content is called as padding, which is in green color. You got it now? Now, coming to the margin. Margin is a space between two elements. For suppose here paragraph is one element and heading one is another element. The space between paragraph and heading one is called as margin. Okay, you can control it with the help of margin. For suppose, see here, this is the gap. Okay, which is getting applied on four sides. Now, let me increase the margin. Okay, if I increase it to 80 pixel, observe carefully, the space between the paragraph and heading will be increased. See here, it got increased, right? So what I'll do is So actually the margin is getting applied on four sides, right? So what I'll do is I'll only apply on the bottom margin bottom so that it will be easy for you to recognize. So see here, the space is getting increased. If I increase it to 100 pixel, the space between these two elements are getting increased. Everything in CSS is considered as a box. Okay. So it will have content, padding, border, and margin. If you increase the width of the border, okay, you'll be able to see that it is getting increased. Okay. These are the properties which box model has, which are content, padding, border, and margin. Knowing box model is very important. That's all about the box model. Now, let us move forward to the next topic. Now, let us learn CSS selectors. CSS selectors are divided into five types, which are simple selectors, combinator selectors, pseudo class selectors, pseudo element selectors, and attribute selectors. Inside of simple selectors, we have element, ID, class, and examples of elements are div, paragraph, h1, button. Okay, and coming to the IDs, we'll be giving the ID name and we'll be attaching hash in front of it. Coming to the class name also, we'll do similarly, but we'll use dot in front of the class name. And we also have selectors like universal selector and grouping selectors. Okay. So universal selectors is represented by star and grouping selectors are combination of multiple selectors. Now let us see the simple selectors with example. So I'm onto my VS Code. So here I have created a file called CSS selectors and I have written the boilerplate code and I have given the title called CSS selectors. That's it. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll take a paragraph. Okay. And I'll take 5 words for it. See, now I'll also apply internal styling here with a style tag. Now let us see how to use simple selectors. Inside of simple selectors, first let us see the element selectors. Okay, the element selectors is nothing but you can select an element or you can target an element with the help of the tag name of the element. Okay, what is the tag name for this paragraph? It is P, right? So you can target that element with the help of P. Okay, so I'll give a color of tomato. So that is this styling is getting affected here. Okay, this is about the element selectors. You can apply for all types of elements, whether it may be div, h1, anything form, okay, anchor tag, any element. For any element, you can target that element with the help of element name or tag name. Okay. Now let us move forward to the class selector. How to select an element using class. Now I'll target the same element using class. I'm adding an attribute called class. Okay. I'll name it as para. So I'm named it as para. Now, how can I select an element with the help of class name? You need to, we have already seen that the syntax for that is you need to write dot and the class name of it. What is the class name for this paragraph? I have given it as para. So I have written it as dot and para. So I will apply font size for it. Okay. Which is 30 pixel. See here, the styling is getting applied here for this paragraph. Now, let us try to understand how to use ID selectors. Okay. Now I'm adding an ID attribute here. So I'll name it as para 1. Okay. Or else I'll give paragraph. So I've given paragraph, right? So how can I select an element using ID? So we have already seen the syntax. It is hash and whatever the ID name it has. The ID name is paragraph, right? Hash and paragraph. After that, curly braces. I'll give the font weight here, right? Font weight, I'll give, the range for font weight is from 100 to 900. So I'll give 600. See here, this styling is getting applied here. This is about the simple selectors. Now let us see how to use group selectors or grouping selectors. Now I'll write a heading called heading 2. Okay, so I've written the heading 2. Now I want to target multiple elements. Whenever you want to target multiple elements and you want to apply the same styling for all the elements, then you can utilize grouping selectors. Okay, so here I'm using paragraph. I want to select a paragraph and heading 2 as well. I want to target both of them. So I've written this and I will write a property called text transform and I will give a value of uppercase. Now observe carefully, I'm targeting multiple elements, okay, using grouping selectors. Grouping selectors means you can separate multiple elements with the comma. Okay, see here, this styling will get affected on both the paragraph and heading as well. See, both of them are converted into uppercase letters. Okay, so this is about the grouping selectors. Now let us see the universal selector. So I'm applying it on top of everything because that is the convention. So universal selector is star, right? So star is the selector and I want to apply some color or what we can apply font style, font family, sorry, font family. I'll apply font family and I'm giving Arial. So that is getting affected for all the elements. Whenever you want to select every element inside of a body, you can use universal selector. But remember that there is something called a specificity or importance. This star will have less importance when compared to the other elements. Okay, if you have given this font family in the paragraph, okay, so that will have more importance when compared to this. Okay, remember that. That's all about the simple selectors. Now let us move forward to the next selectors. Now let us see the combinator selectors. So combinator selectors are nothing but it's a combination of multiple selectors. For suppose if you are selecting an element with the help of element name, that is div and paragraph, by giving some space between that or by adding some plus between those elements, okay, that will become a combinator selector. Now let us see how many types of combinator selectors we have. Okay, the first one is descendant selector. For that you'll add space between the selectors, and the second one is child selector. For that you'll add angular bracket. The third one is adjacent sibling selector. For that you'll add plus between the selectors. And the fourth one is general sibling selector. For that, you'll use tilde symbol between the selectors. Okay. Now let us use these combinator selectors in the code. I have created a file named CSS Selectors 2. Okay. Now I'm going to explain combinator selectors. Now we are going to see examples on combinator selectors. So what I'll do is I'll take div. Okay. Inside of that I'll take paragraph. Same lorem, 5 words. Okay. Now I'll give 2 paragraphs here. Okay. So let me name it as para 1, para 2. Okay. You'll get to know why am I writing all this. Now I'll write another div inside of it. And, okay, let me rename it to section. I'll give another paragraph here. This is para 3, or else instead of para 3, para 2, this is the grandchild. I want to name it like this. Okay, you'll get to know. These are the childs, para 1 and para 2. Okay, let it be like that. Now I'll write the styling here. Okay, this is a div and this is a div. Okay, first container, I'll give comments as container 1 so that it will be easy for you to understand. I'm adding comments. Container 2. Okay, so this is the code what I have written. Now let us move to the styling. Okay, we have already seen as a theory about combinator selectors, right? Now let us see some examples. Now let us see first descendant selectors. For the descendant selectors, you need to use space between two elements or two selectors, right? Here, div is one selector and p is the other selector. I'm adding space between these two elements. What I want is I'll apply some color, okay, with a value of blue. See here, the color is getting affected, okay, is applied for all the paras. What do I mean by descendant selectors? Descendant selectors means, okay, regardless of whether it is a direct child or grandchild or great grandchild, the styling will be applied to all the descendant selectors. Okay, if I write a paragraph here which is outside of div, the styling will not be applied on this paragraph because it is not inside of a div element or a div container. Now, let us see the child selector. If you add angular bracket here, this is called as child selector. If you carefully observe, who are the childs, direct childs? This is the parent means these are the childs for the div. Whereas coming to here for this paragraph, okay, this paragraph is a grandchild to this div. It is not a direct child because the div's child is section, section's child is paragraph. So it will become a grandchild to the div. Now let us see only this blue color will be applied for these two paragraphs. That's it. Okay. Now this is about the child selector. Now coming to the adjacent selector. Adjacent selector means which is just next to the div element. So what I'll do is tomato. I'll give this color. Okay, this styling is getting applied on only this paragraph because this is an adjacent sibling. Okay, see here, this is just next to this div. That is the reason why the styling is getting applied on this paragraph. Okay, if it is, for suppose, if there is another thing called a section here, okay, second section, it will not get affected because it is not adjacent to it. It need to be just beside to it or adjacent to it. Then only the styling will get affected. Okay. If I comment this, then the styling will get affected. Now, moving to the general sibling. The symbol here we need to use is tilde. Green. So I'll comment this. Okay. So yeah. Coming to, I'll also add, okay, now let us see. It is, the style is getting affected on this paragraph because it is a adjacent to div and it is also a general sibling. Now, if I add this section also, then also the styling will be affected. Now let us make it to some, this color or I'll do some darker color, something like that. Okay. See, the styling is affected because it's a general sibling. Whether it may be adjacent or not, it doesn't care. It should be a sibling to it. Sibling means just like a brother, which is in equal level. Okay, that's it. This is about the combinator selectors. Now, let us see some examples on pseudo class selectors. In pseudo class selectors, how we will select the elements is, okay, first we will target the element. Okay, I'm taking the paragraph, target the element. After writing the element, we will insert a colon symbol. Okay, single colon. It will be a single colon. For now, what I'll do is I'm taking paragraph, right? One of the pseudo class selector is hover. Hover is a pseudo class selector. On hover, what we are doing is on hover, we are telling the website or browser that on hover the color should change from previous color to the new color, which is tomato. I'm using this color frequently. Okay, let us see. If we hover on that, if we hover on that, see that color is changing. Hover is a pseudo class selector, which we will use a lot. Okay. We will not use on paragraphs usually. Where we will use is on something like buttons and links. Okay. Submit. We can do the same for the button as well. We have already seen the grouping selectors, right? Button hover. You're saying that on button hover, that text color should be changed to submit. Now, what I'll do is I'll copy this, and for only button hover, I wanted to change the BG color. Okay, BG color to good color plum. Okay, see here it is getting changed, right? This is how we will use pseudo class selectors. There are other pseudo class selectors like for links, you will be using how visited, active. These are some of the pseudo class selectors, and also something like first child, nth child. Okay, these are the other pseudo class selectors. If you want me to do a detailed video on CSS selectors, please add a comment in the comment section. If more people ask it for it, I'll be definitely doing a video on it. Now, moving forward to the CSS element selector. Coming to the element selectors, we'll use double colon here. For suppose some of the examples for pseudo element selectors are something like after, before. We'll be using more frequently this. Okay. Now let us see also something like input as well. We have a placeholder, right? We'll be writing some placeholder, right? Email. Okay. I want to change the color of email, that placeholder. We can't do it directly by selecting the input element because placeholder is an attribute, right? So in order to do that, you need to write input first and you need to apply placeholder pseudo element selector. Okay. So I will change the color to blue. See here, we can change the color of a placeholder with the help of pseudo element selectors. There is also something called as selection. Okay, you can change the BG color. Usually on selection, you will have blue color background and white color text, right? Now you can change that as well. What I'll do is I'll change the BG color to something we have seen with green color. Yeah, let us make it. No, this is also not nice. Green yellow, I'll make it this. And color to black. Okay. So on selection, what will happen is, okay, the background is becoming green yellow color and the color is becoming, text color is becoming black. You can also change that with the help of pseudo element selector, which is a selection. Okay. This is about pseudo element selectors. Now let us see the attribute selector as well. Okay, I'm giving only one example because I don't want to drag this video. If you want me to do a detailed video, please comment below. So you can also select an element with the help of attribute as well. Okay, here I have added attributes like type and placeholder, right? I want to select the input element with the attribute type, right? This is how you'll select an element with the help of attributes. I'll change the BG color to aquamarine. See here, that is also getting affected. This is about pseudo element selectors and attribute selectors. Now I have covered all the selectors and I have given at least one or two examples on each selector. Now let us move forward to the next section. Now let us learn about CSS units. Coming to the CSS units, we have two types of units. Those are absolute units and relative units. Some of the examples of absolute units are pixels, centimeters, and inches. Whereas coming to the relative units, we have ems, rems, view height, view width, and percentile. The meaning of absolute units is they are fixed, that is, they are constant. That doesn't change regardless of the other situations. They don't change, they are fixed. Okay, whereas coming to the relative units, they changed based on the conditions. based on the other factors, they'll be getting changed. Now, we will try to understand about these CSS units with the help of code. We are onto my VS Code screen. Here I have opened a HTML file named CSS units, and here we are able to see the output, right? Now what I'll be doing is I'll be just taking a paragraph with the 5 words here. Okay, now I'll be writing the styling here in the head tag. I've taken a style tag and I'm targeting the paragraph element, and I want to give some font size, which is 10 pixel. Okay, regardless of other situations, whatever it may be, like if the screen size is changing, it is not getting varied. The font size will not vary or will not change. Okay, inside of absolute units, mostly we will be using only pixels. Okay, when coming to the centimeters and inches, we will be not using that much. Okay, so this is about the absolute units. That's it. Now let us see the relative units. We can also give in the format of ems and rems. So I have given 1m. What does even m means? 1m is equal to, by default, this is the default thing. 1m is equal to 16 pixels. This is the default value. Okay. We can change this 1m value as well. That is, what I'll do is, I'll target the body and I'll give the font size as 12 pixel. See, observe carefully. I have given a font size of 12 pixels and I have given a paragraph size as 1m. Now this 1m will be equal to the 12 pixel size. See here, that is getting changed. I didn't change anything. I have written 1m. Now if I take it as 2m, you'll be seeing that this 2m is equal to 2 times of the base size. Got it? This is about the REMs. You can check this thing by right clicking and inspecting. I'm not doing that for now. Okay. You'll get the same units. You can check. If you want, you can verify. Now, what I'll do is, now let us see the REMs. I'll do, like I'll target the HTML thing and I'll give font size as 10 pixels. Okay. I have given 10 pixels. Now, if I want to give this paragraph, I'll save this. Nothing has changed. Okay. If I want to give this font size based upon the root element, okay. Here M is nothing but element. Okay. If you give just M, it will take its parent as a reference. If you give rem, it will take the base size from its root element. The root element here, it is HTML, right? I'm taking reference from that root element when I use rem, right? So I've given to rem. Now the size will become 20 pixels. If you carefully observe, it will vary. Now let me make it as 2 pixel. Okay. I'm not changing this. I'm only changing the root elements font size. But this paragraph size will vary. See here, that is getting varied. This is about the ems and rems. Now let us see the view height and view width. Now I'll take it box. I'll make a box here, class and box. Okay. I'll target that. I'm giving just a styling. Okay. For your reference to make explanation easy for me. So I'm targeting the box. So coming to the box, what I'll do is I'll give some width as 100 pixel for now, and the height as also 100 pixel for now. And I'll give background color somewhat. Yeah, this color. Yeah. I'll center that with the help of a property line height. I have given 100 pixel, right? I'll give 100 pixel height. It will get centered, and I'll give text align as center as well. Okay. Now it got centered, right? This is the height. It is taking 100 pixel width and 100 pixel height. These units are absolute units. Now we will use view height and view width. Now for width, I'll give it 100 view width. Whenever I say view width, it means we are saying that take the total screen available, screen size which is available for you. It is taking the total screen size, right? Yeah. Now, let us say 100 view height. It will take the total space available. Okay, 100 screen size of it. Okay, you got it, huh? This is about the view height and view width. Now we can also, you got it, huh? Now let us change it to 80. It will only take 80% of the screen size. Okay. Similarly, the percentages also work similar to the view height and view width, but it will take reference from its parent. Whereas view height and view width will take reference from the screen size. Whereas coming to the percentages, it will take reference from its ancestors. Okay. I have given 80% of height. Okay. Because I'm targeting this div na. So it is taking 80% of body, whatever the body height it has. Now let me make it height to 100% or 100 VH. See, I have made it 100 VH, which says that the body is taking up total space. Inside of that, I made this box as 80%. Okay, this is how you can use percentages, view height, view width. Now, I want to give one recommendation for you guys. I have learned this thing with experience. I have done a lot of mistakes. So by doing a lot of mistakes, I learned this. So I just wanted to give one recommendation. That is, always try to firstly, use relative units as much as possible. Then you can go for absolute units. Okay. Inside of relative units, what you can do is first go for percentiles or view height or view width. Go for this first recommendation. Like first go for percentiles or view height or view width. Next, go for runs. If not possible, go for M's. If that is also not possible, then only go for the absolute units, that is pixels. Okay, this is the recommendation what I want to give because I've learned this thing with experience. So if you want, you can follow. Now, let us learn CSS positions. Coming to the CSS positions, we have four types of positions that are relative, absolute, fixed, and sticky. Let me explain these concepts with the help of code so that it will be easy for you to understand. Now, I'm onto my VS Code screen. I have created a HTML file named relative.html. Now, let us try to understand the relative position. Here, I have written some styling on beforehand so that it will be easy for me to explain to you. Okay, coming to this is the thing what I have written inside of HTML. I have taken a parent. Inside of that, I have taken a box as a child to the parent. Okay, this is the box we are able to see here. Okay, I have taken a position called relative. Now, nothing has changed. Everything is looking like a normal thing, right? Now, whenever you're working with positions, at least you should use one property among these four properties that are top, left, bottom, and right. I'm using top property here. I'm giving a value of 10 pixels. How relative works is the element will move away from the previous position. That is, here I have given 10 pixels from top, right? It will move 10 pixels away from the top position. That is, from top positions, it will move 10 pixels away. Now let me save. See here, it has moved 10 pixels away from the top position. Now let me also give left position. From left, I want to move it 100 pixels away from left. See here, it has moved to the right, right? From left border, it has moved away 100 pixels. This is how position relative works. Here, for your reference, I have given a dashed border so that this is the first position it is, right? I have moved 10 pixels away from the top and 100 pixels away from the left, right? So initially it was in this position. So this is about relative. Now let us see the next position, absolute. Now let us learn absolute position. Here I have used the same example just like a relative position example, but the only thing which I changed is here I have applied some border color to the body. That is, whatever you are able to see in the yellow color, that represents the body element, and here with the black border, that represents the parent element, here the child element which we are working on. Okay, I have written the same code. In the styling, I have targeted the box element and I have given relative. Now let me change it to absolute. Nothing has changed because remember, I have already told you that whenever you're working with positions, you need to give another property, that is one among top, left, bottom, right properties. You need to give at least one property among them. Now I'm using left property and I'm giving 5 pixels width. Okay, let me save it. See here, it is 5 pixels away from the edge of the screen. How absolute works is, it will look among its parents if any of its parents or ancestors are having position relative value. Now here, this is the child element, right? The box one. The box one will look, whenever you made the position absolute, the box one will look whether its parent is position relative or not. If that parent does not have position relative, it will look another top level, like one level above, whether that parent is having position relative or not. If that also doesn't have, it will go on looking like that. It will do this until it reaches the final element, that is body. Okay, if none of its parents are having position relative, then it will take the body as a reference, that is the screen size as a reference. Okay, here none of its parent is having position relative. That's the reason why it is taking body as a reference. Now let us make the parent. Now I'm going to target the parent element. I'm targeting parent element and I'm making it as position relative. See here, now it's taking its parent as reference. Now it's 5 pixels away from the left and it is taking its parent as a reference. That is black border, right? Now let me change the value to 50 pixels. This 50 pixels, it is away from the parent element. Okay, if any of its ancestors doesn't have that position relative, then it will take this body as a reference. I hope you understood this concept. Now you can also give some values like bottom 5 pixels. Then it will be positioned 5 pixels away from the bottom. This is how it will work. Now let us move forward to the next example. Now I have opened an example for fixed position. Okay, what I did here is I have taken a parent element. Inside of it, I have written a box one just like a previous one. But here I have taken a content of 3 paragraphs. That's it. Okay. So I'm targeting the same box element, but I have given a border radius of 50%. Now let us see the position fixed. I have given position fixed. Whenever you're given the position fixed, it's just came out of the flow from the normal flow. Okay. It is not getting flowed with the content of the web page. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll position it from bottom 10 pixel, and okay, it came to the bottom. Previously this is the position, what it used to be, right? Now I will also position it from right 10 pixel as well. Okay, now it came here. If you carefully observe, I have given here an example of a chat bot kind of a thing. Whenever you visit some websites, you'll have some chat messages, chat pop-ups here, right? Similarly, I have written here. Okay, position fixed will be used in the websites for these kind of use cases. Whereas coming to position fixed, how it will work is it will not flow with the content of the web page, but it will get fixed on the screen. Okay. Now let us move to the next example. Now let us try to understand sticky position. Coming to the sticky position, what I did is I have taken an example of navbar. It will be best example for the sticky position sticky. So I have taken a navbar with 3 links and I have taken a content similar to the previous example. So I'm targeting the nav element here. I'm making it a position sticky here. So nothing is changed. How sticky will work is it is a combination of two properties, that is position relative and position fixed. Okay, initially it will work as a position relative. Okay, remember I have already told you whenever you're working with positions, you need to give at least one property like top or okay, something like that. Now I've given 10 pixels. What will happen is it will get fixed on the top, that to 10 pixels away from the top. Now, what happens is, now let me show you, let me change the code. Yeah, here I'm placing it, the navbar in the middle of the content. Okay, after 2 paragraphs, I have taken the navbar. See here, if you carefully observe this thing, I have given position sticky and top 10 pixels. Initially, the element will behave as position relative. That is, it will get flowed with the content. Whenever this position top 10 pixels has triggered, then it will behave as position fixed. Okay, now let me change this top position value to 100 pixels. Now it will start acting as a position fixed 100 pixels away from the top. See here, previously it was fixed here. Now I have given 100 pixels. Now it will gets fixed somewhere here. Right, see here. It is getting fixed here, right? This is how position sticky will work. Now, let us see another example which is related to positions only, that is z-index. Coming to the z-index, how it will work is it will control the stack of an element. That is like it will decide which layer should be the element on, like whether it should be on the top or second position or in the third layer. Okay, it will decide that stack order of an element. Now, so I have taken a parent, I have taken 3 boxes here, that is box 1, box 2, box 3. Now let us target those boxes and see how z-index will work. I'm targeting the box 1 and I'm using a property called z-index and I'm giving a value of, see here, the default value for the z-index is 0. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm giving a value of 2 here for the box 1. So it came on top of every element. So it came on top of every element. Now let me make it to -1. So it went to backward. All right. Now see here. Come. Let me target the box 2. Now let me change the value of z-index. Remember this one thing, whenever you're working with z-index, okay, you should always add z-index value, or z-index will only affect when you're using properties like positions and display flex properties. Then only this z-index will get applied on the elements. At least you should use positions or else you should use flexbox properties. Then only this z-index will work. So coming to the z-index, I have given a value of, I'll give some value of 3. So it came on top of every box element. So it is on top of box 3. So it is on also on top of box 1. That means box 2 has more z-index value when compared to box 3. And coming to box 3 has a z-index value more than box 1 and a z-index value less than box 2. Okay, so I hope you understood. the Z index. Now let me also give box 3 Z index as well. I want to bring on top of everything. You can give any value, but the default value will be 0. And you can also give some negative values as well. I want to send this box 3 element to the back. So I'll give -5. It will go to the back. That's all about positions. Now let us move on to the next topic. Before moving forward, I wanted to remind you one thing, guys. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe to this channel and give a like to this video so that it will be an encouragement to us to do more videos like this. Now, let us learn Flexbox properties in CSS. This is the very important concept in CSS. Now, I'm onto my VS Code screen. I have opened a file called flexbox.html file. We are able to see the output here. Now let us learn how to use Flexbox properties. Yeah, I have opened a style tag here. Okay. Now, whenever you are working with Flexbox properties, on whichever the items you want to apply these Flexbox properties, you have to target the parent of those elements. Here, on these elements, I want to apply this Flexbox properties. Now, I need to target the parent of these elements. So here, the parent is with a class name parent, right? So I'm targeting here. Now I'll give a property called display flex. So after saving this, see here, these elements are in the horizontal manner because whenever you're applying the flex properties, the default direction will be row. So flex direction, there is another property called as flex direction, and I'm giving a value of row. There is no change because the default direction is row. Okay. So if I change that to column, now it got aligned vertically, right? So these are the directions we have. We also have something called as row reverse, which means it will just act opposite to the normal row direction. That is, here it started when I applied here, when I applied the row, it started in the first box. Now when I applied row reverse, it's starting from the reverse. Okay, the end position will become the starting position and the starting position will become the end position. Got it? Okay. Now we also have a direction called column reverse. Now let us see first make it column. So it is starting from here. If I make it column reverse, so it is starting from the end. Got it? These are the values we have for flex direction. Okay. Now let me make it back again to the row. There is another property called as justify content. So this is very important property, and this justify content will have 6 types of values. Let us see one by one. That is, first thing is flex start. The default value of justify content is flex start. So there is no change in the output, right? Now let us make it flex end. See here, it is going to the end position in that row. When I say row, this is the row. This is 1, 2, 3 will become one row. 4, 5, 6 will be another row. 7, 8, 9 will be another row. Okay. Coming to the column, when I say column, 1, 4, 7 will be one column. 2, 5, 8 will be one column. 3, 6, 9 will be other column. These dotted lines and these numbers, I have applied these stylings because so that it will be easy for me to explain to you. Okay. Justify content and flex end. Now coming to the other property, that is center. So it came to the center position, right? So what are the positions? What are the values we have seen? Flex start. It is starting from the first position. And let us make it to center. It is going to the center position now. Next, what we have seen? Flex end. It is going to the end of that row. Okay. This is about the justify content, and we also have another 3 properties that are related to spacing. Okay, these positions, like what are the values we have seen till now, that is flex start, center and end, flex end, are the properties which are related to the position in that row. Whereas Coming to the space properties, we have space around, space between, and space evenly. Now let us see space between first. What space between does is, okay, it will divide the elements with equal spacing on the screen. Okay, coming to space evenly. What space evenly does is, it will divide these elements, okay, equally, including the edges as well. It will calculate including edges. That is the space from edge to this box 1 and box 1 to box 2, box 2 to box 3 and box 3 to the last final edge. The space here will be equally spreaded. Now let us see the another property, which is space around. Whereas coming to the space around, here from box 1 to box 2, from box 2 to box 3, the space will be equal. Whereas coming from the edge, starting edge to the box 1 and ending edge to the box 3 will have different space when compared to this space. Okay, but these spaces will be equal. Got it? This is about the space around. Okay, we have seen totally 6 properties, that is flex start, center, flex end, which are related to the position of that elements. Whereas coming to the spacing values, that is space around, space between, and space evenly. These are the totally six values we have for justify content. Okay, now let us see about align items. Okay, coming to the align items, whatever the flex direction you have given, align items will act on or will move the elements in opposite direction of the flex direction value. You'll get to know what I'm saying in a while. Okay. Now the same properties, just like justify content, align items also have the same properties, right? The default value is flex start, so it doesn't change the position. It is on first row itself. Now the second value will be the center. It will move in the direction of column or else in vertical direction, because you have given the direction as row na, so that is the reason why it is moving in the direction of column. Okay, now when you give flex end, oh sorry, flex end, it will move to the bottom of that column. Okay, so this is about the align items. Okay, now let us try to use justify content and align item properties at the same time. Now I'm giving justify content as flex start, there is no change. Align items as flex start, there will be no change. Okay, the direction is row, the justify content is flex start, and the align items is flex start. So it is in the first box. Now what I want is, I want to move these elements to the second box position. Okay, so what I can do, can you guess? You can post your answers in the comment section. What I can do is, the direction is row na, justify content will always act in the same direction of the flex direction. So I can target the justify content and I can give the value of center. So it will move to the second position. Now I want to move this to the third position. What I can do here, I should give flex end for the justify content because the direction is row. Okay, so I came to the third position, right? Similarly, I want to move to the fourth position. What I can do here? So according to the row direction, it should be in the starting position only. So I need to give flex start. According to the column position, it should be in the center, right? So I'll be giving center. So it will come to the fourth position. Now, let us move these elements to the fifth position. That is, you need to make it as center. If we want to move it to sixth position, that is flex end. Got it? Now let us move that element to the ninth position. So flex end, I should give the value of flex end. It will move to the ninth position. And if I want to move it to the center, then I can give, then it will come to the eighth position. If I give flex start, it will come to the, wait. Sorry. I need to change the justify content. So it will come to the seventh position of this position. Okay, now let us move forward. Okay, you can also do the same with the column as well. Okay, I'm not going to do everything here. Okay, I'm just giving an example. Okay, 1 or 2 examples, that's it. The default positions are flex start and flex start. Okay, there will be no change here. When you have given the column direction, the justify content will move these elements in the column direction, whereas coming to the align items, it will move these elements in the direction of row, that is horizontally. Okay, if I give center, can you guess where it will go? It will go to the position of 2. Got it? Now, whereas if I move this to the center, then it will move to the center, middle of that box position. This is how the properties justify content and align items will work. Now, let us learn another property, which is flex wrap. Now, I'll comment these things for now. The default direction will be row, and the default justify content and align items will be flex start. That's it. You already know it, right? Now, let us learn another property called as flex wrap. Okay, for the flex wrap, you will have values like no wrap, wrap, and wrap reverse. Okay, by default, the value will be no wrap. Now let us try to make it wrap. Okay, you might say there is nothing has changed because the content which we have here is very less. Okay, let us increase these values or elements. So I've duplicated those things. The shortcut for duplicating the things is you need to select the content, and after that you should use a shortcut called Shift Alt down arrow. Now, so here, see here, the when I given the value flex wrap, the content is automatically moving to the next line or a next row automatically. Whereas if you give the value of no wrap, or else if you didn't give any flex wrap value, the default value will be the no wrap value. Then how many elements are there inside of this parent? Okay, those elements will get overflowed. Okay, so we don't want that. To do that, we need to give flex wrap as wrap value. Okay, this is about the flex wrap. You can also give it as flex wrap reverse. Then the content will come in the format of reverse. Okay, that's it about the flex wrap. Now let us learn another property which is called as flex flow. Coming to the flex flow, it is a combination of 2 properties, that is flex direction and flex wrap. So for flex flow, you can give 2 values, right? The direction and flex wrap as well. I have given a direction of column. Okay, see here, I'll say it came in the direction of column, and I want to wrap the content to the next line. So it will go to the next lines as well. So with the help of flex flow, you can control 2 properties at the same time. Okay, that is about the flex flow. Okay, you also have, let me keep like this. You also have something called as align content. For that align content, you will have values like flex start, center, and flex end. What will happen is if you give flex start, okay, the content will come closer. Okay, it will be in the starting position itself within this reference line. Okay, if you give flex end, it will move to the ending position of that direction, whatever the direction you have used. You have used column, right? That is the reason why it is moving in the direction of row. Okay, whenever you're using align, it will act in the opposite direction. Remember that. Okay, coming to the center, here it is coming in the center. When you're learning flex, these are the minimum properties you need to know. Okay, there are many other properties as well, like flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis. Okay, if you want a detailed video, you can ask me in the comment section. If you want to learn more about flex, there are some websites like Flexbox Froggy, where you can practice with the help of a game. You can learn Flexbox properties with the help of this game, right? Now, here they will give a frog. Okay, you need to place that frog on this leaf. So what we can do here, remember, you already seen the justify content property, right? You need to write justify content. You need to move this frog to the ending position. So justify content, flex, end. We'll move that frog to the on to the leaf. You have some levels like 24 levels. After completing these 24 levels, you'll be mastering the Flexbox properties. There is another website as well, that is Coding Fantasy. Fantasy. To practice these CSS games, you can visit this website and you can learn with the help of games. Like for Flexbox, you'll have one game. For Grid, you'll have another game. Okay. So now let us move to the next concept. Now let us move to the next concept, that is CSS Grid. Here I'll open a website named Learn CSS Grid. Okay, where is it? Yeah, learnCSSGrid.com is a very good website. This is the place where I have learned a lot about grid. So I'm recommending the same. Okay, it will be very easy for me also to explain to you guys. So here, now let us see about grid. Coming to the grid, it is also used to control the layout of the elements inside of a website, just like a flexbox. Whereas the difference between flex and grid is flex is a one-dimensional thing and grid is a two-dimensional. That is what I mean is, like, with flex, you can only control one direction. That is either row direction or else column direction. You can't control both at the same time. Whereas coming to the grid, you can do this, like you can control the both row and columns at the same time. Now, let us learn about grade. Whenever you're working on grade, you need to give a value of grade for the display property. Okay. Then if you use this property, then all the elements will take the full width of the container. There is another property, that is inline grade. When you use this property, it will only take up the space, whatever the content it has. Now, after that, you need to see properties like grid template rows and grid template columns. In the name itself, we have template, right? With that, we can understand that these properties are used to control the template of the elements. Okay. With the grid template rows, you will define how the template should be in the row direction. That is, if you give 50 pixel and 100 pixel, okay, the first element of the first row will take only 50 pixels of height. Whereas coming to the second column, second row, that will take only 100 pixels of height. Whereas coming to the grid template columns, it will decide the width of the columns. That is here they have given 90 pixels, 50 pixels and 120 pixel. The 90 pixel thing will take 90 pixel width. This column will take only 90 pixel width. And whereas coming to the 50 pixel width, the second column will take only that much space. You got the point, right? Now, in grid template columns only, you can give the values instead of giving inside in pixels. You can also give that as fractions as well. That is 1FR, 2FR, and 3FR. That means the total space is divided into 4 fractions. The first element or a first column will only take up width of one fraction of the total width, and the second column also will take up only one fraction of width. And whereas coming to the third column, it is taking up two fractions of the total width. Okay. This is about it. You can also give in M's and Rems, right? We have already seen these units inside of CSS units, right? Now let us move to the minimum and maximum grid track sizes. Coming to this, we will give the values in the format of min max. That is, we are saying that this row should have a minimum height of 100 pixel and the other row elements should take up auto space. That is, whatever the content it has, based on that, take up the space. This is what we are saying with this value. Okay. Whereas coming to the grid template columns, we have given here three values, that is first column, second column, and third column value. Whereas coming to the first column value, we have used min max value. That is, it is saying that the minimum value or minimum width you can take up is auto. Based on the content, you can take up auto width. The maximum value you can take is 50% of the container or the total width which is available. It is the maximum value. Okay, whichever is lesser, that space will be utilized by this first column. Coming to the second column, it will take only one fraction. And coming to the third column, it will take 3 ems of size. Now, we can also use properties like repeat. Okay, which is saying that instead of writing 100 pixel 100 pixel 100 pixel 100 pixel 4 times, okay, we can also use a property called function called repeat. With that, we are saying that 4 times 100 pixel is repeated. Okay, that means for the first 4 rows you can take up 100 pixels of height. Coming to the column, they have said that three one fractions of width. This is how you can give different values for grid template columns and grid template rows. This is the most important property whenever you're working with grid. Now, coming to the cutters or grid gaps, you can control the grid gaps with the three types of properties, that is grid row gap, grid column gap, and grid gap. Okay, coming to the row gap, you can only control the gap between the rows. Okay, here the gap we have given is 20 pixels. So we got 20 pixels. Whereas coming to the grid column gap, they have given 5 rem. So this is the space between the column, right? So you can control this both row gap and column gap with only a single property, that is grid gap. It is controlling the row gap first and later it will control column gap. That is about the gapping. Okay, now this is also an important concept to understand whenever you're working with grid. Okay, grid always work with line numbers. Be careful. Okay, so concentrate here. So concentrate here. Okay, here they are using grid row start 2. You need to focus on this green color element. They are targeting this green color element. Okay, grid row start, and they are saying the start position is 2 and the end position is 3. Whereas coming to the column, the start position will be 2 and the end position will be 3. Okay, whereas coming to the lines, this will be the column line number 1, column line number 2, column line number 3. Whereas coming to the rows, this will be the row line number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, you got the point, right? Now we are saying that we are targeting a particular element and we are saying that you should start from row start 2. That is, from the row line number 2 you need to start. That is the reason why it came here. Okay, it started here, and we are also saying that it should end at a third position, whereas coming to the columns it should start at 2 and it should end at 3. This is what we are saying. Okay, similarly we can also give something like this 3 and 4 with only one property. Instead of giving column start, column end, you can also use grid row and grid column. Grid column is saying that this is the start position, this is the end position. Here the start and we have just given the start position. Okay, uh, by default it will take the end position as 1, like 1 more than this value. Coming to the grid area, you can control all the 4 properties, that is these 4 properties, with the help of grid area. See here, grid row start, grid column start, grid row end, and grid column end. Okay, you refer this document. Okay. Mm, okay, this is also explaining the same thing, how to position an element with the column start and end positions. That's it. You can also give area names to the grids as well. That is okay. So that's it, guys. This is what you need to know when you are working with grid, and you'll also have properties like, okay, you can design the whole layout using grid properties, and you can do the same thing with the flex as well. Okay. So I'm skipping all these things because it is very common repeated thing. Okay. You can refer this document. Okay, coming to the aligning items, we have already seen these properties inside of Flex, right? It, these properties will work just like a Flex properties. That's it. Okay. About justify items, justify content, align items, align content. These properties just work like the Flexbox properties only. Okay. So that is the reason why I'm not going in detail, because the video length will increase too much. So that's the reason why I'm skipping for now, because you can understand these properties. I have explained these properties in Flexbox very clearly, right? So now let us move to the next concept. Now let us learn about media queries. This is a very, very important concept, because we'll be using this concept for responsive web design. Got it? Responsive web design means based upon the screen size, whether you are opening my website inside of a laptop or tab or mobile, the layout should not get disturbed, right? It should look good. We will achieve that using this media queries only. Now let us try to understand media queries with the help of code. Okay, I have written this styling, okay, already. So I'll explain you line by line what's happening here. Okay, I have taken some head and I'm giving a value of the screen size. What is the screen size at present we have? So coming to this, yeah. Now what I'm doing here is I'm targeting the body element. Okay, and I have given the default background color as some purple color. Okay, and I'm using media queries. You will write media queries like this at the rate media, and whatever the thing you want to target, you will give that variable. I'm targeting screen here, so that's the reason why I'm using screen. Most of the times you will be using screen only. Okay, and you should use a value called n. After that, you need to write the breakpoint. Whatever the breakpoint you want to give, you will write it here, like max width, min width. You will be giving these breakpoints here. Okay. So I'm targeting the body and I'm saying that the default background value is this purple color. Okay. You should give a background color of somewhat yellow color when the max width is 640 pixel, which is saying that below the screen size of 640 pixels, that is from 0 pixel to 640 pixel, okay, you should give yellow color. Now the screen size value is 428 pixels, right? It's giving the yellow color. That's the reason why it's giving yellow color. Now coming to this, what it's saying, when the media screen is maximum width is 400 pixel, that is, which is saying 0 pixel to 400 pixel, you need to give background color of pink. Here now it will become 401 pixel to 640 pixel, because we have a lower breakpoint than this, right? Which is 400 pixel. Now let us try to understand the code totally. From 0 pixel to 400 pixel, the background color will be pink. From 401 pixel to 640 pixel, the background color will be yellow. Anything other than this, which is 641 to whatever may be the screen size, then this background color will apply. Now let us see in action. So I'm reducing the screen size to 401. See here, if I make it 401, it is still 6 yellow color, because this breakpoint is hitting. Okay. If I make it just less than or equal to 400, see, the pink color is coming. Okay. This is how we will write the breakpoints. Here under 400, you should give a background of a pink color. Anything more than 400, give the background color yellow. Anything more than 640, that is 641. Okay, let me increase the screen size. 641, then you should give a purple color. So it's hitting, right? This is about the media queries. This is how we will use media queries. Okay, there is another property called as, you can also give a breakpoint like minimum width. Here we are saying that minimum, which means this meaning will change. Okay, previously it is this na. What it will change is from 640 pixel onwards to any pixels, like anything which is greater than 640 pixel plus. Okay, this breakpoint will hit. Okay, if it is less than this breakpoint, like for suppose it is acting from 0 pixel to 400 pixel, you'll get pink color. From 640 pixel to 640, like plus more than 640, you'll get this yellow color. What about 401 to 640? You'll get this color. If you don't have any breakpoints, you'll get this color. Okay. So let us see that in action as well. Okay, sorry, I'm changing the wrong one. Okay. More than 640, you should get yellow color. 640, I'm getting that color, right? Okay. This is how we will do it. You got it now? And now this is about the media queries. Now let us move to the next topic. Now I want to conclude this video by recommending some more topics to learn. If you want to learn more about CSS, you can refer these concepts, and I'll be suggesting some websites as well. So let us see one by one. Now I'm onto my VS Code screen. Coming to the other concepts, what you can learn is, so I'm using the same thing, whatever we have learned. Here I'll take heading 3 and I'll write concepts. So coming to the concepts, what you can learn is specificity, specificity. Okay. And you can also learn how to work with images in CSS. These are the other important concepts you can learn. You need to learn some other properties like about borders, how to work with borders, how to work with backgrounds, borders and background images as well. Okay, these are the other properties you need to learn. Uh, these are the other concepts you need to learn if you want to master CSS. And I'll also recommend some websites as well where you can learn Flexbox properties. You can master those Flexbox properties by playing some games, by visiting this Flexbox website, Froggy website. And you also have some websites like CSS Grid Attack, which is the website name is Coding Fantasy. Fantasy. Okay. Yeah. And you can also refer websites like CSS Tricks for documentation purpose, and W3 Schools. You already know this website. Most of them know this website, W3 Schools. And you can also refer MDN docs as well. You want. Okay. These are the recommendations what I want to give. Okay. Learn about specificity. Okay. And also learn about units as well, CSS units in depth. So it will help you a lot. Okay. And also learn about media queries in depth. Okay. So these are the concepts and websites what I want to recommend, and I want to conclude this video by recommending these websites. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching till the end. I hope you have learned a lot in this crash course video. If you liked this content, please give a like to this video, and you can also share your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you.